Hey, what kind of town is this?
Very coordinated, aren't we?
Well, thank you for noticing.
I'd certainly like to thank everybody for coming out in the snow and cold. Because it's your town too. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay, we'll go right into reports then. Louis, you want to start with you?
Okay. First of all, it is on, right?
Yeah.
I just want to give, every year in January, February, I'd like to give numbers on our dial bus. And I just want to give you the current numbers for 2010 and sort of total passengers this past year that were on dial-a-bus between Goshen and Chester was 14,660 passengers. Of that total, 68% of them were seniors, 13% were handicapped, and 19% was full fare. Full fare is $1, by the way. Seniors pay 50 cents. The total mileage that we put on the two vehicles was a total of almost 77,000 miles. Just to give you a little background, back in 2004, we did like 10,000 passengers and 46,000 miles. So in 6 or 7 years, you can see the number of people that are using that. And when I was talking to Michelle about the report a little bit, she did say Chester is starting to use it even more so because more seniors in the outskirts and so forth are starting to realize the service. So it is a great service to the community, and a lot of people are taking advantage of it. Matter of fact, some people are starting to leave their cars home and going to work with the dial bus. It only costs $1. All right, so that's about what I had to say as far as dial bus. As far as the highway department, as we all know, things are not easy out there with all the snow we're getting. I have some concerns because I don't know where the heck they're going to put the snow. It keeps coming because some of these side streets and some of these subdivisions, at least in mine, I can't even get my mail. The snow is over 4 feet high in the streets. I also have some concern too because I was driving around today, a lot of subdivisions and on the roads, and some of the streets are taking a beating between the cold weather and all the plowing. So I guess we'll be doing a lot of patching next year. Broderick Knoll is settling in his new position. He's doing a good job. All right. And as far as the senior center, the meeting this past week was canceled, but everything's going fine there. That's it.
Thank you, Lou. Ken?
I have nothing to report. I haven't heard any major complaints in the water sewer department, so I'm happy. But I'm just concerned about all this snow in the springtime with I coming down. And it's starting to melt, so that's about it. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Phil?
But just one thing, and I have a press release for you, Jerry, if you want it, written on for our police department.
What about me? I don't get one?
Yes, we can make photocopies of these. You'll have it on camera. I have one press release, but we'll make a photocopy. I apologize. But anyway, on January 25th, there was a fire that had been reported in one of our patrolmen, Michael Imperio, was very close by. It was a dryer fire, and he stopped, and Sergeant Imperio was also in the area. They went and they moved the dryer. There was all flames engulfing the room where it was, so they moved the dryer. And were able to put the fire out with extinguishers. Now, both of them suffered some smoke inhalation. And Officer Imperial also suffered a burned hand by moving the dryer. But they were both volunteer firefighters, so they knew what to do. They were trained into these emergencies. And when the fire company finally arrived, the fire was out, and the chief said,
Elmer Bud,
sorry, I got it over here, said that the house could very well have been totaled if they had not responded so quickly. So I'd like to give some kudos to our police department at that point. I will give you complete regular releases with the date and time. That's it.
Was that a lint fire?
It was a dryer fire. I don't
But I
know
mean,
if
as a
Lynn-
result of the lint in the dryer, or
I don't
electrical?
know what the cause of the dryer fire was.
Thank you.
Okay.
all right,
Is that it?
thank you.
Just one point, Phil, I think Officer Imperial is in New York City Fire Department.
Yes, he is.
So that probably helped out too, it's good.
It did.
Good combination there.
Yes, very good. Both of them were volunteer firefighters right now.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. He is, and it will tell you in the police press release.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Town of Goshen hosted the Orange County Associated of Towns, Cities, and Villages, the monthly meeting for January. It was a good meeting. We talked about cost reduction. Couldn't have been more appropriate, particularly around energy, and then the county, the Commissioner of Services, he had many, many ideas that he talked about. So it gave all of us food for thought on what to do going forward, things to work on. In that same vein, I'm going to be meeting with a legislator from our district, Annie Rabbit, to share with her some of my ideas and what I think the state legislature needs to be working on. You know, I keep hearing in the newspaper, it's things like, well, mandates, and they need to fund them and this and that, the local municipalities. Well, I'll tell you, we don't get many mandates. What we certainly do is I've been preaching and preaching and preaching, and we get really drilled on workman's compensation. We had a pretty good record this past year. The state charged us 18% more just for their overhead, and they've got to fix it. It really is criminal. They have to begin to fix it. Okay. Of course, the MTA tax, she's already talking about that's pretty obvious. But workman's compensation is more costly than the MTA tax for us. And then let me see, I had one other idea that I thought was didn't put it down. But anyway, in my office, I've got 4 or 5 things I would like her to really become active on, and take it to the bunch, and to really think through these things, because there are things that we cannot do at a local level. We're held captive to them, and only the state legislature can work on these things. And these are the kind of things that chase businesses away from the state of New York. This is not the town of Goshen. This is the whole state of New York would be concerned about these things. So I can get excited about that, but that's kind of where I'm at. Okay, under old business. Dennis, the first item we've got is to discuss and approve a resolution to terminate a cable franchise with the Hometown Online, Inc., effective June 30th, 2011, per their request. So Dennis, could you kind of share with us?
Yeah, what this matter is that Hometown Online, Inc. was as a subsidiary of Fork Valley Telephone, and they were previously granted a franchise after a public hearing back in 2007 for a certain portion of the town of Goshen. They submitted correspondence requesting that they be allowed to discontinue or surrender the franchise, and they also submitted backup data as to the listing of the homeowners and or owners would be affected. I don't see that in the file. Does the board have that? If you're
No.
There it is.
Yeah.
You have it? Yes.
Okay.
It's not in my file.
No, not either.
Oh, it wasn't in my file, it's my own personal thing.
Oh, okay, maybe it's put in
Okay.
your box then. And what happened was, when they appeared Monday night to discuss with the board, as the board is aware, looking into it, they economically operate in a very small area of Goshen, and they only have, at the present time, 7 customers. An inquiry was made of them as to the names and addresses of the 7 customers, which are located on Arcadia Road, India Road, State Route 17, and Route 94. And they will be notified of the discontinuance or cancellation, if you will, of the franchise. Economically, it's just not feasible for them to continue. And unfortunately, these same property owners, we talked, discussed, investigated, and they do have alternate service, both in terms of dish, over air, if you will, and also Time Warner. So they will not be left without service. And DirecTV also. And so what you have before you is a resolution cryptically describing what I just went through and indicating that the franchise agreement, which was entered into January 31, 2008, will be allowed to be terminated. And again, providing, of course, that no later than 30 days from the resolution, notice will be given to all those 8 property owners. In fact, a couple of them are, just so the board's aware, a couple of them are even business, it's a commercial. So there are only potentially, it appears, 6 individuals. I have not spoken to them, but again, minimal effect.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion regarding this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I think for the public, we had... I'm sorry, this would be discussion amongst the board. Are you one of the people who is going to be terminated on this contract?
I'm not too sure, but I did have a question in regards to that.
Okay. Okay, we'll come back to you in a moment. We did have a representative from the Hometown Online, Inc. here on Monday, and she assured us that these 7 or 8 properties would be talked to and given all the options they would have to reconnect. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Supervisor Bloomfield,
Aye.
Councilperson Capello,
Aye.
Councilperson Cantorino,
Aye.
Councilperson Newbold.
Aye.
Okay. And Councilperson George Lyons is not here this evening. He's under the weather. So motion carries. Sir, I'm going to come back to you and answer your question when we get to the end of the meeting, what's called privilege of the floor. Okay? So remind me if I don't get back. Okay. The next item is on Monday I talked about the sales tax for the fourth quarter, which would be the first quarter that we would receive this year, and I said that it came in at $213,413, which is under what we had projected in our budget. Well, come to find out, we got a communication from the county today that there's another $52,974 that'll be coming to us. And what it was is this county legislature had approved the 213, and so the check could only be written for that, even though the actual dollars collected was higher. So therefore, we're going to get a second check, and this is across the county. And it's going to be an additional $3,025 that will be distributed amongst the cities and villages and towns. But that was just for informational purposes.
Will that put us just about what we collected for the same quarter last year, and over what we had budgeted, right? We had budgeted $250.
Well, actually, the first quarter of last year was the smallest of the year. We got $239, and this one's $266. So I think we're going to probably come in, if everything stays, the warm weather comes, and we'll be over 100,000, maybe over.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So that's a good one.
We can use it for sure. Okay, the next item, would someone like to make a motion regarding the approval of the minutes of regular meeting on December 9th, 2010, and special meeting of December 16th, 2010, that's where we talked about Marshall and Sterling Insurance, and the reorganization meeting of January 3rd, 2011.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
For discussion, I wasn't here at one of those meetings, so
Okay.
I can only participate in the first two and abstain on the
Reorganization.
meeting.
Okay. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? In regard to the first two, okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The reorganization meeting? Now, can I do that, Dennis, or do I need to make another motion totally?
No, you should make a separate motion.
Geez, I thought you'd say that.
You're accusing yourself.
Okay. Well, let's start all over again then.
Just the motion for the reorganization.
2010 reorganization.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Would someone like to make a Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, guys. The next item is we have a request from the Great American Weekend organization that they would like to get our approval for the 5K and 10K runs that will be part of, is sponsored by the Goshen Rotary Club, and they will be on July 2nd. And the races will begin at 8 o'clock in the morning and will conclude about 11 o'clock in the morning. It will be the same route as last year or prior years. And we do have an insurance certificate will be named in the town will be provided. Would someone like to make a motion in regard to this request?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very quick, I have no problem with it. Are we going to be required to provide police protection or any kind of coverage for that event?
It was not requested
Okay.
in this.
Right. No problem.
We're just going to approve what's here.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. But a good question.
Yep.
Okay, the next one, we got a request by our deputy clerk to attend some training on Microsoft Excel at a cost of $79. It's going to be held in the Middletown Holiday Inn on March 29th, 2011. Would someone like to make a motion that we approve this request for her?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Would someone like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run for January 27th, 2011, amounting to $547,394.74?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, sir, we're up to where you can ask your question regarding the privilege of the floor.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
My question was,
Could you state your name and where you
What's that?
represent?
What do you mean?
Oh, we're gonna, we got to record it in the system, sorry.
oh, okay.
Just so you get your name on it.
Oh.
Patrick Doughton. My question is that I've been trying to get Time Warner to triple play,
Okay.
and this is in regards to what's happening. And they've been telling me that WVT wouldn't allow the Time Warner to give me all three, the telephone part. So with this coming about in June, will I now be able to get Time Warner and be able to get all three?
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
But I'm not
But,
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
we would have to, in fact, what you can do is if you can leave your name with the clerk, on a piece of paper, we will go ahead and find out and get back to you. Because we don't have a representative of Time Warner here. But
I don't know why Warwick Valley would be denying him internet service.
No, they're not denying me internet service. I have WVT now,
Right.
and they're cutting channels left and right
sure.
and raising the price. So I'm looking at Time Warner for the triple play.
Right.
Problem is, Time Warner is telling me that WVT wouldn't allow them to give me all three because WVT has control of the phone wires. So now with this coming about, I'm asking, will I then be able to get all?
Yeah, that would be different from this franchise termination. I am not
I don't know.
aware of the technical. I've run into that in Goshen before. To be honest with you.
I'm on. Yeah, it's strange because I'm on Reservoir Road,
Right.
Okay.
close to 17A, and some of it Time Warner has. The other side
Was hometown.
WVT has.
Yeah.
And I'm not able to do that, so I feel like I'm a little handcuffed
Tell you
in
what.
regards to what I can do.
Again, if you'll leave your name with
Yeah.
the town clerk, I'll try to find out and get back with you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Sure. Any other, Jerry?
Give that right to him, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Jerry Boss. All these pending tax certiorarities, I'm wondering, where are we with the Alturi tax certiorari?
Okay.
Are we near conclusion, or?
Dennis?
I can address that, no problem. I can't give you the exact date, but within the last 10 days, the notice of entry of Judge Ritter's decision was served upon us, which starts the time within which, a 30-day period, within which the town has the right and opportunity to file what they call a notice of appeal. So at the present time, the attorneys are reviewing the decision and advising the board, and prior to the expiration of that 30-day period, it'll be determined whether a notice of appeal will be filed, which would take it to the appellate division, Brooklyn, or no notice would be filed, and the case would become final.
So in other words, the case has been heard and determined?
At the lowest level, correct. At the level of Supreme Court here in Goshen, correct.
The next one is the Mine-Walled tax cert.
Okay.
Is that back in White Plains, or?
No, they're all here. In fact, the Mine-Wall, that was the name of Lawrence Mine-Wall in particular.
Correct.
He had a number of properties in Goshen. They're under various corporate and limited liability company titles, and they have pending approximately 8 cases covering 8 years each. So one way to think about it, 64-some cases against the town and effectively the village for tax tax reduction purposes. And that case is in Orange County, and I believe it's in front of Judge Bartlett. It's not in White Plains. In fact, I'm almost positive that, Jerry, because at one time there was a request that the case be moved, and it was not moved.
And of course, the school district is also involved.
Right.
The other thing, with all the certiorieries we've had, every one of these we're going to try to negotiate without going to trial. And we had a discussion yesterday for about 3.5 hours where the Commissioner of Finance, Phil, and myself, and 2 attorneys talked through a number of these. Okay? And so there's a lot of activity going on. If we can't resolve it with the parties, then we will go to trial. So they're very, very, very active. And
we met for 5 hours last week or the week
before. We meet once a week.
We are meeting once a week just on the tax certiorieries and spending almost a whole day with our assessing office, our attorney, Doug, and myself. So
and you can see it's on the agenda tonight in executive session. We'll spend another hour more tonight on it.
Yeah. Well, I once again will, I guess, I feel that Judge Bartlett shouldn't be hearing these cases. She was the former county attorney. Dennis, I think at one of the several meetings ago, I'd asked if there was any case law pertaining to Judge Bartlett's position in this, due to the fact she is a taxpayer in the village of Goshen, the town of Goshen, the fire company, and the school district. So therefore, in my opinion, she has a vested interest in the outcome of this case.
Just so you're aware, we sit, our county is what they call the 9th Judicial District, and I appear in front of Judge Bartlett at least once a week in connection with these tax certiorieries and other matters. And on each case, she makes full disclosure to the applicant, petitioner, and all the parties of her residency, of her knowledge of the fact that she lives in Goshen, etc. And she gives all of them the opportunity, if they so feel, to request that she recuse herself. And then she would then take it under advisement. The 9th Judicial District has advised her that she has no legal obligation to do so. So it's on a case-by-case, full disclosure basis. And in fairness, that has nothing to do with conflicts or possible recusal. The 9th has also assigned Judge Onifree, Robert Onifree, who sits in surrogate's court, to assist Judge Bartlett in the handling of these tax certs. So I tend to think some of them are going to be split off because Judge Ritter is retired effective December 31st, and we're not getting a new Supreme Court justice up here. So long and the short of it is she does make full disclosure, but it's her decision as to whether she recuses herself, and as the 9th Judicial District has advised her that she has no outward conflict, if you will, requiring her to so recuse herself.
So if we were to lose this...
lose which, hypothetically? Anyone, or...?
Well, hypothetically, if we were to lose this Meinwald case, do the attorneys have grounds for an appeal for what I had just said about Ms. Judge Bartlett's involvement in all her various positions and taxpayer and...
you can appeal on any number of grounds. Most, again, what I've seen in court in each instance on any particular tax cert with Judge Bartlett is she makes it known to the attorneys that they have every right to request, and should they not be satisfied with her decision on that request, they at that time could take some other further legal action if they felt so aggrieved. Most have a choice. Yeah, they have a choice. Yeah, but I tend to think they could raise the issue subsequently, but they also may be mooted by the fact that they were given ample opportunity to raise it prior. I'm just trying to think. I have seen her recuse herself in one instance because she did have a personal involvement. Other than that, the other cases I have, we are not far enough into some of them, because again, what happens on these cases is there's a lot of control date conferences where a lot of the activity is taking place outside of court in terms of exchanging financial information, conferences, as Doug was alluding to, etc. So until you get to the appraisal exchange dates and more involvement with the court, pre-trial, etc., many times the judges don't have an active participation in these types of cases. So, but I can speak in terms of the ones she's been involved in. And as an example, too, Judge Ritter, David Ritter, who did retire, came off the appellate division Came off the Appellate Division, 2nd Department. He was the judge on the Turry action. He also resides in the Goshen School District, which is affected by the Turry cert. As such, he made the same disclosures to all counsel, and they were given an opportunity to object or request a recusal or a transfer. They did not seek so. So the issue, Jerry, is being addressed each time. People are aware of it. Outside counsel and petitioners are aware of it. And it's just that it's not automatically happening for the reasons or the factual statements you may have made as to encouraging her to make a judgment one way or the other. Her call.
The one other is I understand the Jewish Chabad Center, they also have filed
That's correct.
tax cert?
That's correct.
Where are we with that?
Preliminary stages. That, just to give you, that is an interesting case in the sense that, again, you get these hybrids. The Meinwald family owned those particular parcels of real property for a number of years. The Meinwald family brought certs against the town for the years 2003 and following. The Meinwald family donated that property to the Jewish Lubavitch, I believe, I'll hold me to the date, in 2008. At that time, the Jewish Lubavitch picked up the applications, and they have filed. So it's a hybrid situation. We've got private interest owners for about 6 years, and now a religious organization seeking full exemption. Difference is, tax cert, you're seeking a reduction many times. The Jewish Lubavitch petition is for full exemption. They want a zero tax base.
As we would give the Catholic Church, Protestant Church, and
potentially, but what has to be understood is that in this instance, the property is vacant land. There's no use presently. In fact, it's being marketed for sale.
Well, the thing is, there's some 30-plus certiaries, and they're in various stages of development. And this one you just mentioned is in the queue, and they're working through. So it could be months before it all comes to pass.
More like years.
Thank you, Dennis. Don't send me a bill.
Yeah, no. In fact, I don't mind. I think the board is aware too. These are rather complex. People don't understand them. In all fairness, a lot of attorneys don't understand them. And as such, these public meetings where questions are asked are very helpful because everybody is suffering today in today's economy. And taxes, unfortunately, are not as low as we'd like them to be in New York.
And we're reviewing these one parcel at a time, so we are going through each one of them individually.
And then top that off, as you know, we're doing that reval, which is going to kick in 2012.
And that should really level off everything.
Yeah.
But until then, we are reviewing each and every case and trying to make either an economic decision or a legal decision on which way we'll go. So it's not, we haven't painted this with a broad brush. We really are working on each one of these. So.
Okay. Any other thing? Joel?
All right.
You know. So.
I had two questions tonight, but just to follow up on what Jerry asked. In going back to the certs that Meinwald filed, if those are decided in the applicant's favor, would those carry to the new title owner to whom the property was donated?
In generic terms, again...
Or did they expire when it was donated?
No, they would carry forward.
And would it carry to Meinwald or to the new owner?
Whoever the new owner is.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Two questions I had tonight, or two items. First of all, is there anything you can say about the process of arbitration that you can report to us tonight?
It's on the agenda to discuss with our attorney for the town.
You can tell them status.
Well, why don't you give the
status is tomorrow at 3:30. Myself and the village attorney will be meeting with the arbitrator for the first time to discuss preliminary procedures and information concerning the arbitration. So generically, or nothing germane other than procedurally, we'll be meeting for the first time.
Is that the only...
possibly the ground rules or arguments.
Is that the only meeting that has been set at this point?
Yes, that's the only one. Yeah, as such, I can't tell you whether it's going to be a short one, brief one, or many more to come after that. Yeah, don't know.
The second item is not a question, but something I'd like to make the board aware of. I have attempted to make the village board aware of this. I think it has significance for the entire community, not simply one municipality or the other. The library board has been actively considering the Healy property as a potential site. I have had conversation at this point with 3 members of the library board. When I heard about it, steam started coming out of my ears. This would be the removal of the prime developable commercial property in the core village, taking it off the rolls. I have tried to make the point with each board member that I've spoken with that this would be a disaster not simply for the village but for the entire community, a financial disaster, and that really they should look elsewhere. That their fiduciary responsibility extends not only to the district which they serve as a board, but to the entire community, and that they need to consider it. So I would like to suggest to you what I asked of the village board members. Each one of you individually, if you know anybody on the board, reach out. I'm not suggesting you do anything officially, although I have no objection to that, but certainly pick up the phone and let this body, the members of this other body know that this will have consequence to the entire community, and that it's a terrible idea.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Joel.
Anyone else?
Okay, would someone like to make a motion we adjourn with the intent not to return, to go in executive session to discuss Heritage Estates water sewer contract with the town, the village 2010 sewer invoice, which was received today, discuss village-town arbitration status in preparation for tomorrow's meeting, personnel case arbitration request, status review, and a tax certiorari review and follow-up to the meetings that Phil and I talked about earlier.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, folks, thank you very, very much for coming. And
Come back again and come off.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Not at all.